Hello, everybody. My name is Jim Farmer. I'm the festival director of Out on Film, Atlanta's LGBTQ Film Festival. This is our 38th year, and we're actually having our third annual Spring Film Festival starting next week with some incredible films, one of which is a remarkable documentary called Sally, about Sally, right? I'm going to read a brief description, and I'm going to discuss the film with Tam O'Shaughnessy, who is in the film and was Sally's life partner for over 25 years. So we're going to have a brief description and then we're going to ask Tam some questions. Tam, thank you so much for joining us today.
Totally my pleasure, Jim.
Yeah. From glass ceilings to Earth's atmosphere, Sally Ride was a boundary breaker. In the new documentary Sally, her life partner, Tam O'Shaughnessy, tells the story of their hidden romance and the sacrifices that accompanied their extraordinary life together. The National Geographic documentary, directed by Cristina Costantini, premiered January the 28th at Sundance. Sally was honored with a 2025 Alfred P. Sloan Feature Film Prize, a juried award for outstanding depiction of science and technology in a feature-length film. The film screens Tuesday, March 18th at 6:30 at the Landmark Midtown Arts Cinema. Tam, thank you so much for talking to us.
It's totally my pleasure, Jim.
And let me just say, I went to Sundance, and this film is so well done and so moving. And as I mentioned when we were talking with Lois Reitzes this last week, I just stalked the National Graphic teams. Like I have to have this film, and luckily the timing was good. But congratulations on this film and your participation in it.
Thank you. It's been an amazing experience for me. I don't think I've ever been in a documentary before,
Yeah,
and uh, and I just think it turned out very different from what I envisioned initially.
yeah,
I think that's just part of the creative process. You kind of have a vision for something, and then as you're working on a book or a documentary or whatever, it takes on a life of its own. And I think that happened to Christina and the Nat Geo gang. Uh,
exactly.
but I think it's really good. I'm very proud of it.
It's very good. Now, when did you realize that this was going to be a documentary?
I actually got a call from Story Syndicate, gosh, it's a little over 4 years ago. And they told me that National Geographic was interested in a documentary, and I always wanted a documentary as opposed to a movie or a TV miniseries. I wanted kind of a truthful, kind of I love documentaries, and I love the flair of honesty and integrity and so many beautiful things that come together. So I said at that time I couldn't get involved, and then uh, I don't know, maybe 2 years later, I was set free so that I could, get involved right away. And I was very excited. And then, had a Zoom call with Christina and just loved her instantly, the director.
Yeah.
And, she's it's been an extraordinary experience and just actually a lot of fun and hard work.
Exactly. Obviously I knew about Dr. Sally Ride, but I didn't, there's so much that I did not know, including, your relationship. But I mean, what's it like to see this film with an audience and just it just feels Christine did such an amazing job with the archival footage and just tell this story. But this documentary just feels so comprehensive. I mean, what was it like when the first time you saw this, particularly with an audience?
Yeah, it was completely different.
Yeah.
I got to see the film in two earlier stages.
Mhm.
And then at Sundance during the premiere that you were at, I saw it for the first time with an audience of, I don't know, 550 people or something. And just listening to people around me, their reaction, and just in some of the poignant moments, the dead silence in the room, uh, it gave me the chills sometimes, and it was fabulous. And the music, you
Yeah.
know, during especially the NASA footage in the beginning, the rare footage of Sally and her colleagues training and her first launch in 1983. The music is just spectacular. So it was just a different experience from my wee little laptop.
Exactly. So you and Sally, knew each other a while before you became partners. If I remember correctly, you met through tennis.
Yes. Sally
Okay.
and I, yeah, we both grew up in Southern California, and we both were kind of jocks as little girls, kind of tom girls.
Yeah.
Um, and we both started playing the junior tennis tournaments in Southern California and started getting good and then played the national tournaments. But Sally and I met at a tournament on a boiling hot summer day in Redlands, which is always hot in the summer, when I was 12 and she was 13. And we became fast friends. We were friends, you know, basically the rest of our lives. But uh, as we got older, she went to college, and I elected to postpone going to college to play professional tennis. The first ever women's professional tennis circuit was starting, kind of spearheaded by Billie Jean King, and she had coached me when I was a kid.
Okay.
So, I had to join that rebellious effort. It was really fun.
I'm
Uh,
I'm I used to play tennis back when my knees cooperated, but I played Alta for 40 years and it was so much fun. I mean,
Alta is, yeah, I
it,
played Alta too.
Alta is it's fun, but it's so competitive. It's just like everybody wants that bag tag and everybody, but it's such a great I did again another thing I did not realize that there was such an Atlanta component to this story, but you've been sort of in and out of Atlanta for a while.
Yeah, this is actually my third time living here.
Okay.
So Atlanta is kind of it's home now. California, is of course where I grew up, and I love California, especially the weather. Although California is having its struggles with
Yeah.
every sort of natural disaster known to humankind. But yeah, I love Atlanta. I have great friends here and colleagues, and it's a special city. I love it.
Um, this film does such a remarkable job of just telling the story, but also, it just feels so pertinent with all this going on right now because you and Sally, you Sally had to remain in the closet for so many reasons, and you flash forward to today's generation, and we're still dealing with that. We're still dealing with these issues. But can you sort of talk about how that affected your relationship? When she had to, for professional reasons, do what she did.
Sure. I should say, it wasn't just Sally.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Sally was much more private,
Mhm.
and she was private when she was a young girl. She just didn't talk about her feelings or how she thought about things,
Yeah.
except for, I mean, she would talk about serious things, tennis, science, but not her personal stuff. And I was much more open. And when I figured out that I was gay, I one of the first things I did was to tell my mother, tell my sisters, and Sally never did that her entire life, which is a little bit shocking because she could have. She has great, her sister is gay. um, but it was when Sally and I decided to start a science education company in 2001, that kind of closed the door on Sally's evolution in becoming more open.
Yeah.
And we decided that we were going to be dependent on corporate sponsorships for quite a while we built the company. And we just figured there's no way General Electric, AT&T, you name it. There's no way if they know that two lesbos are running the company, founded the company, they're not going to give us a penny. So that kind of stifled us. And I truly believe that if Sally and I had stayed in academia, we were both professors, the university world is just very loving and forgiving and overall progressive. And I think our lives would have been different, but we had a great life together. So no complaints, but uh, it was more difficult for me than it was for Sally because I, you know, I like to be open with people,
Mhm.
and I don't like that kind of. If you don't share something, it's sort of like, well, what's the reason? Are you ashamed? Are you embarrassed? Are you afraid? What is it? And don't like those feelings. So that was hard.
Yeah, I know that I feel like our timing was really good because I know that National Geographic is going to be opening this film, I think in the spring. And again, congratulations. Will you be doing a lot of, press and screenings as part of the opening for this?
Yes, yes. And Cristina Costantini's been, zigzagging the country and going to many more film festivals than I have, but I'll do my share. But I enjoy talking to people. So it doesn't really feel like a burden. It just feels like I want the film to be successful. I want people to watch it. I think it sends, as you said, especially today, it's more relevant and it just shows what people have to do if they have when they have to, when they feel compelled to hide part of who they are.
Yeah.
And it's just not the way we want America to be.
What would you say Sally's legacy was?
She had quite the little legacy.
Yeah, exactly.
The thing that people focus on the most, and fair enough, is that she was the first American woman to fly in space.
Mhm.
And she was among her class of 1978. There were 29 men and 6 women, including Sally. And they all went through about 5 years of training, and they had different assignments. And anyway, Sally was the one out of the 6 chosen to be the first American to fly in space. And part of the reason was that she didn't really care about celebrity.
Mhm.
Um, so in a way, her privacy helped her become the first woman. But I think that's a huge thing because that sent a message to girls, women, men, boys in our country, but also around the world that uh, women can do anything that they want to do. And also that, our country believes in diversity,
Mhm.
equity, social justice. Yeah. But also, I think that Sally, the way she lived her life, she always was true to herself. Even though she wasn't open with the public or even her family, but her family knew. They knew we were a couple. We did everything. Sally never tried to hide anything. She just wouldn't verbalize it,
Yeah.
and until the end, until she was near death in 2012. Yeah. And then also, I think that part of her legacy is how she informed presidents, Reagan, Obama, Clinton, on space policy, on science education policy. So she was very involved her entire life in areas around science. She thought of herself as a physicist, and she got a PhD from Stanford in physics at a time where there were very few women in the sciences.
Mhm.
So I think there's layers of who
Exactly.
she was that is part of her legacy. But uh, the crowning the crowning glory was flying in space in 1983 for the first time, and then she flew again uh, in 1984, and then was assigned to a third flight, and then the Challenger accident happened, so that just changed everything.
Exactly. Exactly. The film is Sally. It screens March 18th at 6:30 p.m. at the Landmark Midtown Art Cinema. It's part of Out on Film Spring Festival. Um, Tam, thank you so much for your involvement with this film. Thanks for sharing this with everybody. I cannot wait to show this, and I cannot wait for the world to see this. And I know that unfortunately you're not going to be able to come to the screening next week, but I hope we can have an event sometime in the future and get you there. Maybe have an encore of this sometime, later this year. So, but I would love to get you involved. And thank you so much for your, flexibility and helping us promote this so much.
Of course, Jim, it's been my pleasure. I've enjoyed talking with you, and I hope people come out in droves to watch Sally.
Oh, great. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye.